That is the topic of our boot room this morning. And Robbie, Earle, we call it the managerial merry-go-round when you have one or two changes. This is the busiest merry-go-round of all time this season. And so many, I think, are linked, triggered because of what's going on at the bottom of the table and the fear of getting relegated. Is that what drives the change?
Absolutely. Bottom three, top four. Top four for the big clubs. They've got to get Champions League football. It means so much to them, profile and money. Bottom of the league, Rebecca, those bottom three, if you drop out the Premier League with its riches and with all that it brings, you could end up like a Sunderland down in League One. You could end up like Derby, look like they're going down to teams who were in not that long ago in the Premier League, completely out of the picture and not knowing when they're going to come back. And so I think we'll continue to see these kind of changes. We'll probably have another run towards the end of the season. And
so from that perspective, Tim, you can understand why owners pull the plug.
Well, absolutely. I think there is the fear of, as you said, going down and losing out on that money. But what we're also seeing in the trend is the new manager bounce. We are seeing continually teams who are struggling get that little bit of a pep in their step, and that means whether that's 6 points or 9 points, it gives them this boost. And so, yes, I think ownership is right. Look, don't like seeing managers lose their job, but if it's to keep the club in the Premier League, and they can do that, or top four, whatever the financial structure is, if that change can bring automatic results, which is what we're seeing, then absolutely you're going to see ownership continually chop and change often.
And Tim, it's really interesting because when managerial changes happen, us here in the studio, sometimes we all feel like, well, that sounds good. So Conte to Spurs, you sort of feel happy with that. Gerrard to Villa, you feel happy with that. Even Dean Smith to Norwich. And then maybe you get others you're not too sure about. So let's talk about, first of all, the ones that you're not sure about. Eddie Howe at Newcastle, yet to take charge on the side, was officially in charge yesterday. Newcastle are bottom.
It's a worry. It's a worry because I think Eddie Howe is a good manager. He showed that. So, yeah, obviously, Bournemouth went down recently, but he showed that he has what it takes to put together a team tactically, get a team playing for him on a much smaller budget at Bournemouth than he has at Newcastle. So I think that could work. My fear is that it may be too little too late because right now Newcastle aren't playing very well. They don't look like they have much confidence. So he has a big job, not only to get them tactically playing well, but to give them this boost of confidence.
And, Robbie, it's interesting because when you look at the Howe appointment and the Ranieri at Watford and whoever comes in eventually after Michael Carrick and then after him at United, those three clubs clearly don't have a plan. Whereas you look at Gerrard, you look at Villa, you look at Norwich, it feels more of a plan. That's the difference, right? Yeah,
those feel like more joined up thinking. I think the Eddie Howe one is interesting. I mean, almost like there's a curse around Newcastle. He gets the manager's job, then gets COVID, not being able to be there. Any job you give a manager is a risk at this time. You think of Van Gaal and Mourinho, you know, storied and won everything, still a risk. You know, Eddie Howe is a risk. The biggest risk, I think, for Eddie is the style of football he wants to play is not necessarily style of football you'd say bottom three, let's work our way out of it. First thing he talked about this week was getting on the ball and being more progressive and playing football. 27 goals they've conceded.
And 3-3 yesterday.
3-3.
And are those players that he has good enough to fit that system?
Well, that becomes the question with Eddie Howe. Is he putting more trust in these players? Obviously, there's a big January window for them coming. But it is a risk. And as you say, it's the kind of risk that all owners will take because they feel they've got to do something to stay in the league. Well,
it's really interesting about the January window because Newcastle, more than any other club, they can't go down. With the new investment, with the new owners, they have this plan where the sky's the limit. And so I think they have to spend massive money in January to get Eddie Howe the reinforcements that he needs because I don't think these players are good enough to stay in the Premier League.
But the crazy thing about the Premier League is that you could imagine Eddie Howe, if he was to struggle come March, they change again and they bring in a Big Sam or a Pulis to try and then go horses for courses and just keep them in the Premier League because things are that dire and that important. As you say, Tim, they cannot go down. Conte at Spurs, is he a risk?
No. Not
so there's very
me.
few risks.
There's very few risk-free, and he's one of them, and they've got him. And Manchester United must be sitting there going, why didn't we move 2 or 3 weeks ago? I mean, I just said to you off air, if I'm Manchester United, I'm looking at that Conte contract and seeing if there's any way I can get him out of there in the summer. But no, I think Conte will leave your club in better position than when he walked in the door. And he's a Category A winner who knows what he's doing.
If we ever know a club that has a plan, it's Norwich City. They are looking like they're planning for possible relegation with a manager who has on his CV promotion. Clever.
Very clever. And I think that the length of Dean Smith's contract feels right. If he keeps them up, great, happy days. Everyone in Norwich is celebrating. If they go down, and we know they've accepted the fact that they're a yo-yo club, they do have a manager in place who understands the championship, who knows how to get a team out of the championship and back to the Premier League, and then therefore he should be rewarded for that. So that plan seems like it might work.
Why do you think Gerrard feels like such a good fit?
Because every time you see him, you hear him, you watch him, he feels like a top-class manager. There's no manager speak. There's no bit where you go, oh, I don't quite understand that. He looks to me like he dedicated his life to his playing career, and he's going to dedicate his life to being a top-class manager. And I think it's great business, a great move, and he can achieve things at Aston Villa. Everyone keeps talking about the Liverpool. He can achieve things with Aston Villa because they're an ambitious club with money.
Right, that's 6 managers out after 12 games. That would be 12 managers out by Christmas. So it is going to be a busy Premier League season no matter what, as it always is for the managers. That was our topic this morning on The Boot Room. Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch highlights all season long, and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend at 7 a.m. Eastern. And for even more content, head over to Peacock, where we've got live games, original series and a dedicated round-the-clock Premier League channel featuring studio shows, classic matches and much more.